Quiet, please.
Speedway Tavern. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What's the news today? Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Webby, GA, and Matt are here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Come and have your say.
As we went through the season that never was, it was far from pleasant to note the number of rained-off meetings we would have suffered had we actually been running. For Birmingham, and I know this because I'm so sad, but I checked every single one, that number would have been 0. 0 matches lost to the weather. Fast forward to this year and the season that has just started, and rain off, after rain off, after rain off. Still, I'm a Speedway fan and I wouldn't be happy if I didn't have something to moan about. Only in British Speedway.
And you can come straight in, Mike.
Good evening and welcome to our lovely plush new studio for those of you that are watching on Facebook and YouTube and all the other different things. It's good, isn't it?
Not bad, is it?
It's all right.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Feel like I'm...
It's different to struggling to get on the Zoom, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that became more and more of a problem, which is why our output became quite sporadic, and we just decided let's wait until we could get back into the studio, and oh yes, it's brilliant. Love it. So Matt, you was at Wolverhampton the last Monday.
Yes, that's right.
Tell us all about it.
For 2 races.
Yeah.
No, it was it was obviously a really strange experience, to be honest. You know, the whole thing really. It was well organised. Obviously, big difference in terms of getting in was obviously pre-booking your ticket. You wonder whether that might become the norm, because it was fairly straightforward to do, and it's not just a case of queuing up and handing your money over. It's just you scan your phone or whatever. So that was great. It was great seeing people that I've not seen for 18 months.
Most of them, anyway.
Most of them, yeah, just catching up with them. But the track looked very, very heavy when I got there, to be honest. I believe that there's been a lot of work done at Monmouth over the course of last year, with relaying new shale. And I think they had a really torrential downpour about 4 o'clock, which just brought the dirt back up, and it was just unraceable. I felt really sorry for Chris Van Stratton, to be honest, because so much hard work had gone into getting that meeting on. And to have that happen was just a real kick in the teeth. It was sort of a meeting that was sort of thrown together at the last minute, to be honest, literally because they'd only had clearance the week before that they were going to be able to run it, to be honest. The field wasn't particularly strong, but I think it was really going to be a glorified press and practice evening, just for the riders to get to grips with the track that they've not ridden on for over a year. So disappointing, and obviously last night's match against Bellevue, I was looking forward to that one, but of course the weather put pay to that one as well. So the wait goes on for next Monday against Ipswich.
Which, I mean, Ipswich have had a strong start, haven't
Ipswich, that's going to be a good meeting, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of attention, particularly on a certain 3 times world champion that's going to be in the Ipswich lineup, of course, who's had a decent start. Didn't have such a great start for Plymouth, I don't think.
No, although Bjarne Pedersen
was
unbeatable.
Yeah. Probably his sort of track, to be honest, very slick, and track where you had to get at the start. But I just wonder. I mean, the big difference, undoubtedly, of course, was the crowd size. People say that the crowds in British Speedway have dropped, and they probably have, but it was noticeable the gaps on the terraces. I think 790 was the
Yeah.
number that they could have. It's probably going to be similar
so
enough for Birmingham.
down to the fact that they're not allowed to have any more
That's right.
than a certain amount of.
Yeah, so that was surreal there. And I mean, these clubs are going to be losing money hand over fist in the opening weeks of the season that are running meetings. So I suppose in a sense, if they can push more meetings back to after June the 21st, when you can hopefully get more people in, it's going to be beneficial.
So what you're saying there is that the rain-offs might be a blessing in disguise.
And so I think some of the promoters' pockets might feel that way, to be
Yeah,
honest. But
yeah.
no, it's these opening few weeks of the season for clubs that are running meetings are going to be really, really tough because they're going to be operating at a massive loss, whatever they do.
It's really nice to be talking about actual Speedway meetings, even if they're only 2 weeks long. And of course, there was the Eurosport meeting,
Yep.
which I mean we'll probably talk a little bit more a bit later, but overall impressions, I was quite impressed with the coverage. I thought it was really
Yeah, they
well done.
put a big emphasis on sort of away from the track as well, haven't they?
Yes,
And sort of
yeah.
building up the meeting and obviously previewing the season. I know there's only 6 teams to preview in the league this season, and obviously doing was it about an hour's worth of
Afters, yeah.
rehash afterwards, and of course you've got the highlights program on Quest as well. So yeah, it's a good opportunity for British Speedway to really showcase itself. It probably wasn't the best of meetings in terms of racing, but it was very, very close all the way through, and Sheffield certainly gave a good account of themselves, I think. So yeah.
We also say at this point, guys, we want to hear what you've got to say, any questions, anything you want us to talk about. And of course, Chris Harris is coming on in about 4 minutes, I think.
Cool.
We'll be sorting that out in a moment. So any questions that you've got for him, of course, riding this year for Peterborough and for Birmingham. I can't go any further without mentioning Birmingham. Great start to the season.
Very good start, wasn't it? I think obviously there were mitigating circumstances, and I suppose Speedway hasn't changed in that sense. Guests in the first meeting and whatnot, but
It is disappointing.
It was a big statement from Birmingham to win that meeting, and of course I think was it no wins at all the first season back in the second tier.
No away wins.
No away wins.
No away wins,
And an away win in the first meeting of the
not many home
the
wins
season,
either.
so,
But
yeah. So, but I think there's a lot of optimism around Birmingham at the moment, and I think the signing of Eric Riss has really transformed the team.
And
to be honest,
I mean, basing it on one meeting, of course, is difficult. But it's nice to see Ash Morris scoring some points.
yeah, I was very pleased to say that because obviously Ash had a really bad injury when he was really looking as if he was going to be on for a good season, wasn't he?
And same can be said for James Shanes, of course. Scored a few points as well.
A lot of good things to take out of that meeting for Birmingham, I think.
So I'm sure we'll talk about it in a moment with Chris, and also they've got. I mean, Peterborough have got some positive signs with the form of Bjarne Pedersen.
Yep, Scott Nichols as well.
Scott Nichols, yeah, and Chris Harris, of course. I mean, they're using the Brummies team here.
It's a Brummy select almost, isn't it?
Right, I think Chris, you're going to go and
I'll go give Chris a call. Before I do that, Craig says, good evening, good to be back on the terraces watching Speedway. Looking forward to the double header on Monday for the Aces and the Dad Army. Going home to Bellevue and then travelling down to Peterborough straight after and staying the night round the corner from the showground. Can't wait, and the weather is looking good for us. That's from Craig.
That's a Speedway fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah. Optimistic.
Yes. Although I'm reliably informed by somebody I know
All right.
that the weather's going to get better from this
Apparently,
week.
yeah, 23 degrees on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's a bank holiday as well. That's a novelty.
yeah.
It's going to all go downhill now. We've said that. Obviously.
It's everything else has. So.
Right, then I'll go and give Chris a call.
Okie dokie.
Good man.
So, yeah, let's have a talk about the Eurosport coverage a little bit. Good match.
Well, as I say, I think it was a good meeting in the terms of it was close. I think I've seen better racing at Bellevue,
course.
to be honest, but
Yeah.
I think that kept it interesting. Sheffield, I thought, gave a really good account of themselves, to be honest, and but I think Bellevue were always going to be stronger in the
Towards the end.
towards the end of the meeting.
You're agreeing with Nigel Pearson there, then all the way through he was saying, I think Bellevue was going to sort of tear away at the last few heats, and he was right for the first time this year. But, it was a good meeting. I think that as you say, the racing for the first 2/3 anyway was quite processional. You could tell how nervous they were, particularly on the start. There was.
I think so, because Speedo is not one of those sports where you can have a long gap out of it and just jump back on the bike and just pick up where you left off. It doesn't matter what the track is.
No, I mean it was.
To be honest,
but it was just good to see a crowd, good to see bikes going around. Long may it continue. You've got to keep your fingers crossed now.
Yeah, I just hope. I just hope there's not too much going to be too much negativity, to be honest, because it's going to be a really, really tough season. I think, obviously, getting through it with all the restrictions in the early weeks.
I don't think there's been a lot. I mean, it was quite interesting after the Wolverhampton situation that there wasn't really. I didn't see many people moaning about it, and most people just said, "It is what it is. We just need to get on with it." That sort of seemed to be the attitude.
Yeah, that was really encouraging to see. Chris Van Stratton's obviously gone on record as saying he had some really fantastic messages the day after. From people obviously wishing the club well for the rest of the season. So
10 minutes.
Okay. Oh right. Okay. He never was quick out the gate.
He's been waiting to line it up all day, hasn't he? So he could have waited until he was on.
No, I wouldn't have said that while he was on.
No. He's bigger than you as well. Most people are bigger than you.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for Chris to come to the tapes, I'm good and getting good at this.
Oh, yeah. So it took you 10 years.
10 years, it has been 10 years. We got any more comments?
No, I'd like to say hello to Anders Carlberg, Simon Corbett, Dave Twine, Jim Turrell, Craig, and I've missed the rest of them because it's gone now. But, okay. Anders Carlberg said, Sweden says, hello, mates. Not in an Australian accent like that. I can't do a Swedish.
I knew that was coming. Swedish chef was coming.
Anthony Bailey said it's been good to see a lot of young reserves being competitive. Rowe, Thomas Flint, Brennan, etc.
Andy Rice had a great start.
Yeah, I was going to. I mean, he looked.
Yeah. He's not going to be getting sacked this season. I know that.
Am I ever going to live that down?
No. That was funny.
What do you think of Jason Crump's start to the season?
Started off okay for Ipswich, isn't he? Didn't have such a great meeting, I don't think, for Plymouth, but I think a lot of it with Crumpy depends on what your expectation is, because I think, as I've said before, if you're expecting him to come back and be the rider he was 15 years ago, forget it. But
I mean, it's been out of the sport for quite a long time, hasn't it? What was it now?
2012, I think he stopped in the JPs. 2009, I think, was his last year in this country. So,
I mean, I hadn't realised it had been that long, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's going to be good to see him back, to be honest. And, I think he's going to, particularly in the Championship, I'm sure when Plymouth come to Birmingham, there's going to be a few extra people on the gate to come and see him, because he was always a really classy rider, and I think would have been a strong competitor had he ridden in any era, to be honest. He was a great rider in his prime.
And he's one of those riders that even when he's riding for somebody else, he's quite a popular rider. If you know what I mean, he's not Nicky Pedersen.
I don't think he was. To be honest, ironically, I don't think he was ever that popular at Ipswich when he was racing for Peterborough and Kings Lynn. But hey.
Okay, I'll have to take your word for that. You was around that time when I wasn't. But yeah. Right.
Race times. Race times.
Luke
Paul says, what days and times are Speedway at Perry Bar? And he wants to know if Wolverhampton and Brummies are still based there.
Well, Wolverhampton have never been based at Perry Bar.
Our feeder club was based at Perry Bar for a while.
Yeah.
Richard said, why shouldn't the Premiership adopt the Polish heat format? It seems successful over there. Why not use it here? We've talked about this before, haven't we?
We have. Can somebody remind me what the Polish heat format?
Go on, Matt.
The connoisseur of Polish Speedway. I left the Polish rule book at home, so
I don't know is the answer to the
No.
question. I mean, maybe he could... who was it again, sorry?
Richard Cotton.
So maybe, Richard, you could give us an idea why you think that would be better, because I presume that's what you're saying, that you think it would be a better format for us to adopt. Be interesting.
Yeah. Craig says, I quite like the way Bellevue adopted the Polish model. 2 minutes goes on tapes up just before the second minute was up. Hoping it's the same at all tracks this season. Keeps the meeting flowing.
I mean, yes.
I don't think everybody would agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's something that Birmingham did quite well 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
What, 18
Hope
months?
they haven't
whatever.
forgotten how to do it in that time. So.
Yeah, let's hope not. And a few of the clubs, I think, have sort of sped up, and then there's clubs that you think, oh, come on.
There's two in particular I can think of. So
Yeah, we won't
we won't name them.
do
so.
naming and shaming. I don't think that's great. We had a little sort of idea for a competition, didn't we, Chris?
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So-
Loading it up.
to let just to sort of tee that up a little bit. When we're talking about Birmingham, this is going to happen.
Hang on, is it? Oh, yeah.
So that's the idea. So yeah, just a bit of fun, really. So let us know what sort of funny little snippet of music would be great for your club.
Yeah.
And-
What's appropriate?
Yeah, and we will.
Keep it clean.
Yes, please do. And we will oblige with that. Just a bit of fun, really.
Yeah. That's what it's like.
It'll keep Chris working as well.
Yeah, it gives me something to do, I suppose. Yeah. Any comments? Antonio Lindback's come back in Sweden,
I hadn't seen that.
apparently, just for Mazana's meetings, but he'll do it for the youngsters.
All right.
Okay.
No, I actually, I've got to be honest, I hadn't seen that. So
That's news to me. We will
Elaborate,
have a
please.
look. We'll have a look at that next week, I think.
Yeah, interesting. I'll go and try Chris in a couple of more minutes.
I see there's been another GP cancelled. Have you
yeah, the
seen
Roslav,
that?
not Roslav, Warsaw.
Warsaw one,
Yeah.
which is
So,
sad.
yeah.
It's
And
going to be like that all through the year, I think.
And
on our
Brian's
final.
come back with the times, right? So he's saying that Wednesday nights at Brummies, it's 7:30 p.m. Wolverhampton and Monmore Green. On Mondays, also starting at 7:30 p.m.
But Birmingham's obviously better.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
obviously. Yeah, of course.
Different product, different league, isn't it? So,
Better.
well, there's more variety at Birmingham. There's not 6 teams in the league. So.
Well, there is that. There is that. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I was just looking over the Peterborough team prior to, obviously, my interview with Chris. And if you look at it, you got the number one is Bjarni Pedersen. And then you got Michael Palmtoft, you got Chris Harris. Well, that's 3 from the Premiership straight away. That riding the Premiership. Then you got Hans Andersen. Then you got Scott Nichols. That's another one from the Premiership. Ulrich Ostergaard, another one from the Premiership, and Jordan Palin, another one from the Premiership. It's almost a Premiership side there, isn't it? Very built along very sort of even sort of ground, so they haven't got a great, what you call a number one, but they're solid all the way through. It's going to be interesting to see how that... and Ulrich Ostergaard's had a good start to the season as well.
Yes, because he had a tough couple of years, didn't he, with injuries.
Nice,
You know, so-
nice to see that.
Yeah, he's a nice lad, Ulrich.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So, you know.
Absolutely. So, are we ready for Chris?
I'm gonna go and get him,
Okay,
mate. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Carry on with that, mate.
We usually do. So, we should look forward to 2 matches that we are coming up. Wolverhampton against
Ipswich.
That should be a good match.
Yeah, it should be,
Ipswich have
When
started
they-
really well, haven't
yeah,
they?
Ipswich have had a good. I think Ipswich will have a good season. To be honest, I think.
How many times have we said that and then it hasn't happened for them? But yeah, So Wolves, Ipswich, what do you reckon?
It's difficult to judge, really, because there's obviously no form at all for Wolves at the moment. Be nice to start off with a home win, obviously. I think that's going to be crucial. I mean, the big conundrum with the Wolves team is what the lineup's going to be, because usually by this stage they've had a few practice sessions, and which Peter Adams has always said, he wants to see different combinations of riders on the track to see what lines they're racing, because you're not going to put two riders in the same beat that want to ride on the same bit of the track and just get in each other's way. So it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, you'd like to say bumper crowd, but of course it's going to be bumper crowd.
Yeah, it'll be the limit.
The restrictions. But obviously, hopefully the forecast is obviously better for the next few days. So hopefully we'll be able to finally get some racing at Monmouth, to be honest. And I think with after the two rounds, I think it's going to be just refreshing to get some proper racing underway.
What we'd love everybody to do is to put in their sort of chip in with their local teams and who they're coming up against and how you think that will go, and we will chat about those as well. Have we got?
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Hopefully on the other end of this line we have Chris Bomber Harris. Are you there, Chris? Oh no.
Oh, he's gone.
So
I think he heard Mark's voice, didn't he? So,
probably. We are trialling a new.
Vodafone voicemail service for.
Hang on.
719326.
So
it would have connected.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, just to point out as well, it's not Wolves' first match, because Wolves are in action in the week against Kings Lynn. First away match of the season. Kings Lynn obviously had a really tough start against Ipswich, didn't they? They came back into the meeting quite well, but
you can't get much of a tougher start. I mean, they was out of it after the first.
Okay, I think Chris is on there now.
We'll try that again, hopefully. Chris, are you there, mate?
I'm here, yeah.
Ah, fantastic. Any chance of turning him up a little bit, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Try that.
So, first of all, Chris, great start to the season for you down at Berwick.
up at Berwick.
Up at Berwick, thank you. I'm upside down.
No, yeah, it was great. Obviously, our aim was to go there to get all 4 points, but you never know. The first meeting of the season, everyone's hungry, but we had a great team performance. Everyone chipped in, and away with the win. First meeting of the season was a good start.
Yeah, and I think the most impressive thing about it really was that, I mean, after two heats, we were 8 points behind, and we just came back from that quite strongly. Yeah,
our first two, it was obviously I ran a third in my first one, and then another 5-1, so it was like, yes. We need to pull a finger out here and rethink. But to be fair, all the lads rode well, and everyone chipped in.
And I guess the other positive thing to take from that was some of the lads like Ashley Morris coming back from injury and James Shane's chipping in with quite a few points as well.
Yeah, they were good together. To pair them together, Lawrence done a good job. They seemed to ride well together. So and to say, both had injury over the years, so it was nice to see them score well.
And I'm guessing this is just the first time you've been in a team and have met Paco.
Yeah, obviously I've known Paco for years,
Right.
racing over Europe and that, and I know his dad very well, obviously Armando. So riding in the team together for the first time. He's a great lad. He obviously had a few problems on Saturday with bikes and that, but he looked good today when we had press day and looked sharp. So looked like his old self, pulling wheelies and all and having fun.
That sounds like the Paco we know. I was going to ask you about the press and practice, because obviously it was behind closed doors. How did it go?
Yeah, track was good. Obviously it's a bit bumpy, but obviously it's been sat for so long and that. So everyone looked good. Eric was there. The whole team, to be fair, looked sharp and looked ready to go for next week.
Fantastic, and we're all raring to go to watch it.
I wanted to ask you actually about Eric, Chris, because obviously I think the Birmingham team has really been transformed by the fact that Eric's has come into the team, because it was a team that not really a lot of people were talking about, to be honest. But in a sense, there's going to be a great rivalry between the two of you because you're both going to be vying for that number one slot, which is going to be good in any team, I think.
Yeah, when you've got two riders last year, like me and Eric in the team, both want to be number one, it sort of pushes each other on because obviously I want to keep it and he wants it, so that's only good will only benefit the team. But when they said about signing him, obviously Lawrence said different riders when they was trying to think who to have, and at that time Eric wasn't available. But then so the riders was definitely Hammond, and then when Eric come available, that he wanted to come back, and Lawrence said he was talking to him. I was like, yeah, get him. We get someone like Eric in, and that's like I said, transport the team, and maybe probably take a bit of pressure off the lower end of the team, so they can just go and enjoy it, knowing that the pressure's on the rest of us.
And sorry, did you want to? Yeah. And also, you're riding for Peterborough. Had a rained off match, I believe, last week, was it?
Yeah, I should have rode last week. That's Thursday and got rained off. And then raced yesterday and got rained off. So fingers crossed. Now we go to Bellevue on Monday as a double header there at 12 and then back to showground for an evening. So
yeah. So it's very difficult at the moment, isn't it, to sort of know where you are as far as Peterborough is concerned, because there's, they haven't ridden many matches or anything at the moment, although Ulrich seems to have started quite well, and Scott did well for us against Berwick as well.
Yeah, obviously, when people kick off, it'd be fine, but yeah, Bjarni, he had an 18-point maximum the other day, so he looked up. I think Hans done a few meetings in Denmark and some in Poland and everything. So obviously I've had one meeting now. Scott's had a couple, and got track record at Glasgow, so he's looking he's on form. So yeah, I can't see it being a problem when we go to the tapes. Hopefully on Monday that we will not race Rusty anymore.
Now, you've been on our programme before, Chris, but it's been many moons ago now. So what we do, we have people contributing on our shout box and so on with their questions, and I think there's been a few people.
Yep. Yeah, Simon Corbett wants to know: does Chris think one league split north and south would have been a better option this year?
It's a tough one. I've been saying for years, the top league, you want as many teams as you can. So it was something that maybe they could look at. North and South, and then have maybe, the winner of North and South go into a final to obviously get eventual. But yeah, it's a hard one because obviously it all comes down to finance. I think a lot of clubs don't want to risk trying to with the pennies and everything. So it's a tough one to call, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And there's another question as well. This one's from Craig Smee. He says, any plans for retirement, Chris, or are you still looking to carry on racing? I know you do the long track championships, etc., but any aspirations to enter GP challenges again or SEC in Speedway to get back into the GPs, or are your GP days over now?
No plans on retiring anytime soon. This COVID break is sort of... give me the thing that I'm not ready to retire yet. I'm still hungry to race and to win, so that's a good thing. The long tracks I enjoy, but I definitely I would love to do the qualifiers for the Grand Prix and the SEC, but it's out of my hands. That's called by the boss, Ollie and Steinman, and I don't know what their plans are, but I've not heard from them. Since they've took over really only once, and that's it. So, I still want to be in have a crack at the Grand Prix and the SEC, but it's sort of out of my hands at the minute. I'm being sort of overlooked, I guess, for the other ones.
So you heard it here first, guys. If you want Chris, come and get him.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about Peterborough, and you've ridden for Peterborough a few times in the past, so it's a track you like.
Yes, I've had a couple of spells there. Obviously, Peterborough giving me my first chances in the elite league, what it was. and doubling up with Trelawney at the time. So yeah, it was always fond memories. And then going back there again when Jed took it over many years ago, and I doubled up then when I was not getting any rides in Poland, and then obviously a third time now. So yeah, it's a track I've always enjoyed. It's a good racetrack. It's fun to ride.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, be interesting now to hear your sort of views on, in both leagues, who you think are going to be the main contenders and how you think Peterborough's going to do and how you think Birmingham's going to do.
Oh, I suppose it's a hard one really, because obviously you can never write anyone off. But you know, a lot of talk was Sheffield was going to be the team, but you know, obviously they got beat at Bellevue when they was winning, and obviously they had a few riders obviously missing, and Batch had a tough start to the season there. But you know, they could probably be thereabouts. Bellevue looked pretty good. Kings Lynn strong. It's one. I think it's going to be really close this year, as in I think the teams are pretty even. Ipswich has got a good solid side, but I think we've got a lot of experience. We might be the oldest in the league, but you know, we've got a lot of experience there, and you know, where some of us might struggle on one track, the other ones pick up the pieces and vice versa. So I think we've got a good balance of there, and I think we'll all be pushing each other at Peterborough. So I believe we can be there for the playoffs.
And of course, Bjarne seems to have started the season on fire.
Yeah, but to be fair, Bjarne's always been good over here, and you know, he's been a world class rider for years, and you know, his equipment is immaculate. He's all professional, and yeah, so he'll be up there pushing for points all the time, home and away. He's been around there many years. He's got a lot of experience, and you know, he'll want to go out on a high, obviously with his farewell year.
And in the championship.
I haven't looked at a lot of the teams, to be fair, so I don't know who's where. I think with us having Eric in now, I think that has made us a lot stronger than what we might have been without him.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see why we can't be up there pushing for the playoffs, and then anything can happen once you're in the playoffs. But yeah, so I'm not really sure who's where. Paul's obviously looking a solid side as well with Danny and Stevie and Rory and that. So. Yeah, we'll have to just keep pushing.
Yeah, just say Birmingham and we'll be happy.
Hey?
Just say Birmingham and we'll be happy.
Yeah, Birmingham, we'll be there.
Do you want to read that one out, Chris?
Yeah, sure, yeah. So, Craig wants to know, what do you make of the situation at Coventry? It's on such a dire state, but there's a court case looking against the current owners, and there's a credible offer on the table to bring Speedway back. The offering party is hoping the council push through a compulsory purchase of land to bring Speedway and stock cars back. Would you throw your helmet into the ring if Coventry came back to don the Bees race jacket again, Chris?
Yeah, obviously when I see Jeff, and obviously he's head of it, so when I see Jeff and that, I always ask him how things are going, and I always keep an eye on what's going on there. So yeah, it's a shame to see the state of the stadium as it is. That's obviously fantastic memories there. So I'm one that's hoping that it does come back and get it back to its glory days, because it's a club close to my heart, and you know, I would never rule out if it does come back that I wouldn't go back there and ride. But we'll have to see where that holds in the future. But it'd be great to have them back, even if I'm not there riding. It's great to have it back if they can in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's on a bit of a knife edge at the moment. I think, really, isn't it? I mean, I've seen photographs today of the stadium, and it looks in a horrific state now. It's really, really, you know, because I mean, Coventry was always one of those stadiums that you went to and you felt like you were in a stadium. It was always, you know, really, really immaculate. And to see it in the state it was in,
it was nice. And Mr. Sandy, when he took it over from the Ocratres, he did plough a lot of money into it and to make it look nice as it was. But yeah, I always said if I ever won the lottery, I would buy the stadium.
Yeah, I think there's not a Speedway fan out there.
It's not so long ago. I think it's not
5 years.
It's 5 years.
5 years since it finished. Yeah, since the last meeting there.
Yeah. It's incredible.
As I say, I don't think there's any Speedway fan out there that wouldn't want to see Coventry back. I want to see Coventry back because I want to beat them again, but that's that's another story. We have another comment.
Yeah, Anthony Bailey wants to know, ask Chris who he thinks are the best young rising stars in both leagues. I'll probably put you on the spot there, I know. Yeah.
God, to be honest, again, I've been, the last few years with myself struggling, I've not really took much of the youngsters coming through. I know there's a lot coming through and some good ones, so it's a hard one because they are obviously Adrian Rowe. He started the season well for Ipswich, banging the points. Who else is in there? Cool.
Yeah,
be nice to see.
Got a few to choose from.
It'd be nice to see how our one at Peterborough, Jordan. He seems a nice lad, and just a steady rider. So I'm hoping he'll just keep plodding on.
It does feel as if there are a few more British riders coming out of the woodwork at the moment, which is nice.
Yes, I mean I think there's that more than what was when I was around. So, or like in the last 5 to 10 years. So it was they've all sort of come out together, and it's sort of like quite hard to keep an eye on them really. So yeah, hopefully there's a good bright future for all the youngsters coming through.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we've got another question.
Another one, yeah. Richard wants to know what you do. What will you do when you hang up your helmet? Will you carry on in Speedway, team manager, coach, ref, etc.?
I definitely won't be a ref. No, not to be honest. I'm not really. I never really thought about it until obviously the lockdown. And I thought, well, I've got no really qualifications and anything to fall back on. So it's something that I need in the next few years to think on what I want to do when I do retire. Even if I did want to stay in the game, be team manager, and obviously there's a great lot of big money in that one. So yeah, we'll have to see. Trying to just concentrate on my racing. So, but I do think in the back of my head I've got to start thinking where my future holds. The wife won't want to keep working forever. Me staying home.
Chris, we can't have you on without the obligatory mention of Cardiff, of course. Hard to believe it's 14 years ago now.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It's about time I get back in there again and win another one. But yeah, it was obviously a great memory on that night, and always be one for the rest of my days. It's always nice to watch when it comes up on Facebook every year and everything. So, and I do put it on YouTube a bit now and then if I'm sort of feeling a bit down and not really focusing. And I normally get sent away with the wife, and she goes home and go and watch Cardiff and go and watch when I got run over and get that fire back in my belly and sort of watch that, and it does lift you.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit that race in 2007, that final, whenever anybody says to me, well, what is Speedway? I always show them that race.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was, it was my time. It was my day, that one.
Yeah.
Everything sort of went right for me. Hit the holes at the right angle, and it could have been completely rock. Could have went the other way, and I could have hit the right and spat me off the back like I did in 2003. I think when I went there, was a late replacement for Hans. I hit a hole coming out the back straight in my second ride, and that was it. The meeting was over.
Yeah, but there's a bit of we're not sure about the future of Cardiff at the moment, because of course there's no Cardiff GP again this year, and I think the contract is up at the end of this season. So yeah, hopefully it's not the case, but you might wind up, Chris, as being the only British riders to win at Cardiff. Something obviously Ty Wuffington hasn't managed to do yet. So, but hopefully that's not the case. But
yeah, no, hopefully they can renew the contract. It's a great stadium, and the atmosphere is great. I think all the fans all over the world that's their favourite one to look forward to. Even all the polls, I think, when they come over, I think I know they've got Walsall there, but the atmosphere at Cardiff is just so good. Yeah, so hopefully it's not the last time it'll be a hold at Cardiff, because again I would like to have a wild card and win a British final and go down there and win it again. Absolutely. Before I retire.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I'm sorry you did want. I know you wanted to shoot off in a bit, but there's a couple more. Dave Twine says it's nice to see that Hudsall has been tidied up. Does Chris see a promoter taking a chance?
What's that one again?
Do you see anybody taking a chance on Odsal as it's been tidied up? Bradford.
That's not a question that anybody's going to know the answer to.
Did you ever ride there, Chris? I don't know whether you did you?
No, I didn't. It sort of was stopped closed before I actually got a ride there. But I've just been watching their updates on how they're doing the stadium for the stadium, and it looks at, and obviously watched Grand Prix there when Brian Anderson actually won it. Just fun, obviously speaking to riders that's ridden there like Mark and Joe over the years, and that. So I think it was something that I'd like to have a go at, and hopefully it can come back. And more speedway we can get back in the country, the better ones that we've lost over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even Oxford, if they can get Oxford back, that was a great little stadium and tractor race. So we don't want to see stadiums closed. We want to see them re-open.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you want to get off soon, so I just want to say thank you so much for being our first guest this year on the Speedway Tavern. Good luck on Monday. And not Monday, sorry, on Wednesday. Do you know what? It's been such a long time. It's only been a year.
I don't turn up at Perry Bar on Monday, would I?
No, I don't turn up at Perry Bar on Monday, no.
No. I'll be defied by Peterborough. Thanks for having us on, and it's been fun at any time.
Fantastic.
Yeah. You take care, Chris. See you soon, mate. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye bye.
There we go.
Always good value.
Absolutely,
Chris, always good value. A good signing for Birmingham.
I think so, yeah. I think maybe there's a bit of unfinished business there with him because he didn't have the best of seasons when he rode for the club in
2012, I want to say.
No, it was 13, wasn't it? Wasn't it the year that the...
It's the year that we won and then lost.
Yeah.
He
he didn't have his best year really that year, did he? But,
2013.
Yeah, he didn't.
Right.
He didn't have his best year, I don't think. Although he played a part, obviously, in the team, finishing top of the league. So,
I think he said that himself as well, of course. But he started off well.
He just had a good start to the season.
This year. So, long mate.
And it's good to say as well. He hasn't. He's obviously talked about not having any plans for hanging the leathers up just yet and carrying on for a few more years. I mean, we've seen Greg Hancock carry on well into almost into his 50s. Scott Nichols has obviously had a fantastic start to the season. So, so hopefully, you can't beat the having good experience and good competitors like Chris Harris and Scott Nichols and the like around. So it's going to be good for some of these younger lads as well. Absolutely.
I'd like to. While I'm thinking about it, talk a little bit more about Anders Rowe, because we had him on the show last year, didn't we?
We did,
yeah. It was a great value again. What's the matter with you?
Good sport.
It would never have happened if somebody had said something.
No, it was good sport.
For those of you that don't know, because there's going to be people out there confused now that don't know what the hell we're talking about.
I don't know.
So a few years ago now, about 3 years ago, I guess. 3 years ago.
Bloody hell.
When Birmingham was still in the National League and we needed a rider at the time because of injuries and so on, I mentioned that I'd quite like Anders Rowe. I quite like the look of him, and that he'd been sacked by whichever club he was riding for at the time.
I think, wasn't it?
I think it was Somerset. About 5 minutes later, Anders Rowe comes on our show box and says, "No, I haven't."
It's still funny.
I just completely, not for the first time, completely got it wrong.
It was funny, that was.
So anyway, we had Anders, and nobody's let me forget it in case, as you can notice. So we had him on last year, and he was talking about the fact that he'd gone over to Poland and how that was working, and we had a lot of in-depth stuff from him about how the training went and the differences in the riding style that they'd taught him and so on. So my question, finally, get to it, is, I think the answer is yes, isn't it? Has that played a part in his? Has that played a part in his fantastic start to the season?
Oh, I think undoubtedly. I mean, I think it's going to be good for riders to go over to Poland because the mentality there is completely different to what it is in the UK. Because if you don't succeed, you're out the door.
Mm.
So there's there's a real pressure there to deliver results straight away, and he's done tremendously well. He did well in Poland, obviously, when he rode over there last year, and as you say, he's had a very good start to the season this year. So, he's certainly up there with amongst the top boys for the future.
I'm really pleased for him because
Yeah.
I mean he's a great lad.
Yeah, he was a good sport when he
good.
came on the show. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was the last show when we were actually in here, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah,
I think it might well
Yeah.
have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I got Anders Rowe and Henry Atkins mixed up. Well, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
Typical. You haven't seen that one. Surely Cardiff stays on the calendar going forward. It's one of the GPs that generates the most revenue for the promoters, and it's seen as the jewel in the crown.
Is it now though?
Oh,
Because you've got Warsaw, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Warsaw's obviously a national stadium, and you've got some other big venues as well. And don't forget, of course, I think the GPs next year are going to be run by a different company. So they've got to do a negotiation with Cardiff, and if Cardiff, I think, is going to have quite a lot of events to catch up on. Obviously, not being used for over a year itself. So, I really do hope that he does go back to. They do manage to keep it there at Cardiff, because I think you're struggling to find anywhere else.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere else?
Okay, everyone's going to be saying Bellevue. Bellevue would be a fantastic racetrack for it. I'm not convinced the stadium's big enough for even with temporary what was they had the World Cup final there a few years ago, didn't they? It was about 14,000, 15,000 crowds, something like that.
Yeah, which
It's a lot fewer than Cardiff. Odds, I mean, there's obviously Oddsal's the other one, of course, if they do manage to get Speedway back into there, but not sure.
That's a bit of a punt.
It is, to be honest. I mean, I'm not convinced about Oddsall for league racing. Big meetings, yes, but not sure about league racing, because I mean they didn't get great crowds when they had league racing before, and it's not through having a poor team either. They had some very good riders riding for Bradford.
So the answer is for Bellevue to get upgraded properly. If that happened, then that would be a great place.
Well, Cardiff to me is absolutely perfect for Speedway. Because it's right in the middle of the city. You can walk out the stadium and walk straight into a pub for a drink.
I know that's important for you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, but I mean, it's all right in the centre of the city, isn't it? And with Bellevue, obviously it's a fantastic venue, but if you want to go, you've got to get a bus back into the city, or you've got to go and get the train back into the city. So,
and also you shouldn't underestimate the fact that it's got a roof.
Absolutely, that's the biggest safeguard for Speedway tourism having a place with the.
You're going to have Speedway. It's going to happen on that day. It's not going to be a problem.
And it's better with the roof shut, to be honest, because obviously keeps the noise in.
Atmosphere.
I've been to every single Cardiff since it's been staged there, and the atmosphere it never fails to disappoint. It's always absolutely electric.
Jim just says, just to let you know, Anders is flying at Ipswich.
Yeah, we've noticed. We've noticed.
Yeah. Craig says, could they get it back at Wembley potentially?
I don't think the football would allow it, would they?
Be very surprised.
Be a lot of
they
work.
do still need to pay quite a lot of money for that,
yeah.
and it might generate them some
I think if
income,
a promoter tried to get it back to Wembley, I think they'd have to have very deep pockets, to be honest.
They do need the money.
I know they need the money, yeah.
Yeah, desperate, yeah. Cardiff is all about the day, night, weekend out, says Anthony.
I mean, I've got to hold my hand up and say I've never been to Cardiff, and it's disgusting that I haven't. And I was going to go this year. I was determined I was going to go this year, but
Hopefully next year.
Hopefully, that would be good. I did go to Wembley in 1982, was it?
81 was it the one that Pennell won, the last one there?
Yeah, it won that Pennell one, and Hans Nielsen didn't do very well.
What was the crowd for that? Was it good?
90,000.
90,000,
Really?
90,000, yeah. It was packed.
My life.
It was absolutely, the atmosphere was incredible. Took forever to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always a criticism of Wembley, wasn't it? So,
But yeah, that was one of my favourite memories, except for Bruce Pennell winning. But to be fair, he did ride well that night.
40 years ago, that isn't it?
Is it really?
Full.
2 years ago. I was only 2.
2 miles away, is that
Yeah,
all?
2 miles away.
Dave Twine said in 2007 he found a pub with sawdust on the floor.
I just realised he's talking about his mental age.
What was that, sorry?
Dave Twine said in 2007 he found a pub with sawdust on the floor.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Cardiff is that.
Yeah, I presume that's Cardiff.
Should have been the old Belvedere track. That had a lot of sawdust on it over the years.
Stephen Bradford says, I'm watching.
Good. At least somebody is.
Somebody is, yeah.
Neil Fitzgerald said, Neil Fitzgerald likes Ty Wofferton very much. From Mr. Neil Fitzgerald.
Well,
We
thank
talk
you
about
so
Ty
much.
actually, because obviously he's had a few weeks away, isn't he? With,
has,
his,
yeah.
with his injury,
He's
so
busy.
he'll be hoping to sort of get his form back for the GPs, which I think start in June, July.
June, I think it's June. Yeah, I mean, Bartek Smarslik again, isn't it, this show, don't you think? Really?
Well, you got the big target, of course, which I think people, if he does win it again this year, people are going to start talking about, and that's the number that Messrs Major and Ricardson have got. That's 6.
Mm-hmm.
He's young enough to challenge for it,
Absolutely.
and at the moment, I mean, at the moment, he's the perfect package, really, isn't he? He's got everything.
He's the standout rider at
Yeah.
the moment. I mean, and also the COVID situation's possibly not going to affect the Polish riders as much as it is many of the British riders that have had to sit back and take a year out. And which is possibly another reason why Anders Rowe is flying.
Doing well, yeah.
Craig Smee says, I can't believe Ty declared himself fit this weekend, only 3 weeks after that crash.
Yeah.
Madness. He's a Speedway rider.
What do you expect?
What do you expect?
Exactly.
And Simon Corbett says, Janowski this year.
He's had a decent start,
He
hasn't he?
has had a decent start.
Oh, yeah. He often seems to flatter to deceive, I think, in the GPs, though, Magic Janowski.
He has a few times, really.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see.
I've got to say thank you to everybody on Twitter as well. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you because, well, I'm not that clever. If you hit that mic one more time, I can hear that every time you do that.
That's why he's doing it, sir.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And also thanks to everybody on YouTube as well. So, yeah, thank you very much. Good stuff.
Good. So is the comments on YouTube that we haven't heard?
Yes.
Okay,
that's it,
so
yeah.
I apologise
I'm not that clever.
I apologise for the tardiness of our engineer.
Thank you. Looking at the current GP riders riding in Poland, I'd have to say Magic. He's on fire.
He's on fire at the moment, yeah.
He's been on fire before, though. Been interesting. Is there anybody other than the Pole that could win it this year, do you think? That's not saying anything against the Poles, because I think Schmarzlik is a wonderful rider.
Robert Lambert will finish top 6 this year, says Anthony Bailey.
I think Robert Lambert will have a decent season in the GPs, to be honest. No, it's a real shame that, obviously with the restrictions in Poland, it means he can't ride over here.
Yeah.
But, I think, again, he's another one who started off the season quite well, hasn't he? So,
I mean, there's been quite a lot of bad press, hasn't there, for Poland over that decision to only let them ride in, is it 2 leagues?
yeah.
But it's sort of a brand new world at the moment with COVID, and I can sort of understand why they would want to limit.
Yeah, I can
People's
understand that.
travel,
Obviously,
to
and
be
it's not
honest.
gone down well with a lot of the riders, obviously. I think Nicky Pedersen's he's disappointed that he can't race for Sheffield this year, obviously because of the restrictions, because I think he was keen to come back and race in the UK again after a long time away. And it would have been fantastic to have had another year of Nicky Pedersen riding in the British League.
Yes.
As the pantomime villain, who would have got a fantastic reception at every track he went to, no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
Oh, yes, he will.
God. Please.
Oh, hang on.
Okay, so Chris has got a new toy.
Yeah.
Anders Carlsberg says, can anyone confirm that the 80s model and single Samantha Fox is a huge fan of Speedway? Often regarding to rumours.
Used to visit
Hackney Speedway. Ooh, interesting.
Maybe somebody out there knows more about that than
No,
I do.
nothing to do. Did you ever go there?
Hackney? No, I don't think I ever did.
Mm.
No, I don't think I did. Nice to see JPB back at Bellevue. Yes,
Didn't have the best of starts.
Didn't have
he?
the
But
best of starts.
It's going
at
to
all.
take a bit of time for him, though, isn't it? I suppose he's got an advantage in a sense because a lot of the riders he's racing against have been out for a year as well.
Yeah.
So, but I wish him well.
I also need to apologise for the mic that's for the camera that's obscuring most of Mike. Although nobody,
Nobody's
and I
complaining
mean
about
nobody,
it.
has complained.
He's the one that's focused on his back. So.
yeah. So I'll have a better camera next week.
But I won't have a better face,
The
unfortunately.
viewings will just plummet as
Yeah.
soon as we get a better camera. Doyle says he's riding in the UK next season for Swindon and would have rode this season if Swindon were running.
He's been a great ambassador.
He's been
for-
fantastic,
yeah.
hasn't he? You know, he's been one of the few
British sport.
GP riders that has stayed loyal to British Speedway. To be honest, I've personally got reservations about Swindon next season. I hope I'm wrong, but
You're just full of
I
doom
know I'm
and
just,
gloom
I'm just,
today.
it's watching Wolverhampton for 31 years that's done that. So,
Yeah, I can't
I
argue.
mean, how long?
No,
Is, I mean, how long is it now that they've been looking for this new stadium? Is it 12 years, something like that? And it's still not. I might be completely wrong, and if Swindon are back racing next year, fantastic, because the top league needs another track without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, hopefully I'm wrong. But I suppose there's that scepticism that comes from being a speedway supporter for all these years.
Okay, then next week then. Go on then, open question. Famous Speedway fans. Anthony says, I heard Paul Scholes say he used to go to Bellevue. So if we can put that for next week.
Okay.
Come on, give us some.
Well, I'm going to give you the most famous
ones.
one, except I can't remember his name.
Oh, he's famous, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well known, he is.
Which is Australian Formula One driver.
Mark Webber.
Mark Webber. That's
Yeah,
it.
Mark Webber's a massive Speedway fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
absolutely.
David Coulthard, I think, used to watch the Speedway as well. Don't know whether he ever went, but I know he used to watch meetings on Sky.
Right. Okay.
The
Come
guy
on,
out
sing
of
Prodigy.
Prodigy.
Yeah,
Can't remember
what's
his
his name?
name.
The guy who won the TT. Oh, I can't remember his name.
No.
Big Master with Ty Wuffington. I can't remember his name now.
All these famous
Some-
people that nobody can remember
their
the names.
name. That's how famous they are.
Incredible.
John somebody.
Oh yeah, there's not many Johns, is there?
Yeah, I know. He'll come to me as soon as we finish.
Rossi, GP,
Valentino Rossi.
Valentino Rossi, yeah. He's actually got a speedway track built in his back garden.
Really? Oh, okay.
Uses it to practice on.
Yeah.
So there
Why
you go.
don't all these famous people get together?
John
Pump
McGuinness.
some money
John
into it?
McGuinness.
Thank
John
you, Craig.
McGuinness.
Craig Smith.
Diddy David Hamilton?
Diddy David Hamilton. Good God.
Wish I was old enough to remember him. Well, then, I think that's it.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for everybody taking part. Thanks once again to
Bomber.
Chris for joining us tonight. And
You said that as oh me, oh, right, oh, Chris.
no,
right,
not
okay.
you. No, I'm not thanking you. Never. Yeah, you take care, everybody,
Stay
and
safe.
see you soon. And hope you all have a good Speedway week. Take care. Bye bye.
Good night.
Ta-ra, a bit.
Welcome to the